Welcome to Filmfest Dresden and also to the presentation How to Festival from Enrico Vannucci. He's a programmer at Locarno Film Festival and also artistic director at Torino Short Film Market. And I'm really happy that you made it here because it was already planned last year, this presentation. But because of Corona and because of our postponement, it was not possible anymore. But still, I think the connection between film markets, film festivals, and also the film circuit is still relevant. So hope you enjoy the presentation. And one last note, there's a live stream today. So if you are watching online and you have questions, please leave a note on Facebook so Enrico can answer your questions, also to the online community. So then I hand over to you, Enrico. Thank you very much for being here and hope you enjoy the presentation.
Oh, okay, goes. Thank you for the introduction. So today it's called How to Festival, a journey from film festival to markets and back. Can we screen the presentation on the screen? Okay, thank you so much. I would like to start by saying who I am and what I do. Well, as Laura said briefly, I work for Locarno Film Festival since the beginning of this year. I'm one of the selection committee members of Pardi, Domani, and I'm a programmer for that reason. And then I work for the Torino Short Film Market, where since this year I'm the artistic director, but also I'm one of the founders of the market since 2016. I am the owner of Varicolored, which is a distribution company that I co-founded back in 2018. Nowadays, I don't have much role in the company apart being the owner and doing the accountancy because of lots of conflicts of interest with my other jobs. So I would like to avoid those. Then I also one of the founders of Talking Shorts and Be Sure Now. Talking Shorts is a magazine dedicated to short film criticism, and Be Sure Now it's the industry part of that. And we started in 2020. Well, actually, Be Sure Now started a couple of years before, but and very briefly, I worked 7 years for the Venice Film Festival, short film advisor, and also as a freelance programmer at different festivals around the world, like IFA in Israel, Quebec City in Canada, and Corto Dorico and the Emilia Doc Fest in Italy. And I was, for a few years, artistic director of a small film festival in my hometown. And moreover, I'm a freelance journalist. Well, technically speaking, yes, but I'm not write much apart from a podcast on Talking Shorts. So today I'm gonna speak about festivals, markets, and giving you some examples of what I do, also professionally. I would like to start by talking about festivals. This is a very much simplified festival organization chart. This chart here is good, or it can be applied mostly to feature film festival, the so-called 80s festivals. Smaller festivals are probably a simplified, even more simplified or smaller chart. But this can be a blueprint for that. The A-list festivals are the festivals that, let's say, all the people know. So Cannes, Venice, Berlinale, Locarno, and so on. So the one with the red carpet, let's say. And also, you have to bear in mind that those festivals are just the exception in the festival world, or the festival galaxy, as we'll find out. But they are the most famous, so this is what the people look at. So usually a festival is governed by a steering committee, a board of people that decide what they want from the festival. Let's say, for instance, Venice Film Festival. It's clear that the board wants the festival to screen films that are gonna win an Oscar, and they successfully made it in the last few years. And in order to do so, they appoint a festival artistic director. In this chart, you will say that the festival artistic director is the most important figure, even compared to the managing director that you can see below. But in some festivals like Berlinale, the managing director and the festival artistic director are at the same level. But that doesn't change much. Let's say that, of course, the festival artistic director chooses the artistic side of the festival and the cultural extent, while the managing director it directs all the business extent. We'll start from the business extent because it's very similar to whatever company in whatever other sector. So, of course, you have several branches. You have like several positions like financial director, assistant managing directors, the press and media director, and of course different branches like all the press office and the third party media, or the film department, the professional activities and markets, human resources, sponsorship funding, and so on. So as you can see, apart from the film related branches, it can be very similar to whatever big company. But one that's peculiar to film festival, of course, is the cultural extent. So an important figure is the assistant to the artistic director, who usually has a lot of power in terms of coordinating the film committees, the programmers, and so on. And also is the big help for the festival director itself. An important figure is the film selection committee. Can be one, can be more, depends on the festival. Usually there is one for short film festivals. Usually there is one for the international competition, one for the national competition. In Venice, for instance, there is one for all the festivals, and so on. Connected to the selection committee is the figures of the correspondents and advisors. Not all the festivals have those, only the big ones. I would say the A-list festivals. Usually there are people that are connected to a territory. So they go and scout for films. They keep the relations with film institutes of certain areas, let's say Southeast Asia, South America, North America, Africa, and so on. Or advisors connected to certain extents. So let's say short films. I was the advisor for short films in Venice. So my job was to look for the films and keep the connections regarding the short films with the institutions that we work for. And then there is the programmers that can be both inside the selection committee or outside, and they can program like special section of a festival, like, I don't know, in A-list festivals like the classics, so like screening of old films that have been restored. So this is to give you an idea of the general structure of a festival. I think that for Filmfest Dresden you can find some of these figures here. Like you don't find correspondence, I guess, but you don't have it. But I mean, like you can find programmers, you can find film selection committees, you can find the artistic directors, because there are two here, and so on. So that you can see also other figures in the funding and market, professional activities, and so on in press office. I'm give you some definition of festivals, actually. This is like the theoretical part of this presentation. It's very easy. It's a university thing, but I think it's clear. Gives you an idea of what this branch that since 2005 more or less studies film festival in academia, and to give you an idea about what they wrote about festivals and how they came up with ideas about festivals. So one of the first to write about it was actually Thomas Assessor, who was a professor in Amsterdam. I think he was German, if I'm not wrong. That he described the International Film Festival must be seen as a network with nodes, flows, and exchanges. I think the definition speaks for itself, but please keep in mind this network thing and nodes, flows, and exchanges that we are gonna see in a minute. Marijke de Valk is another scholar, if you want to read a book about festivals, I recommend you this book from Marijke de Welk, Filmfestivals, from European Geopolitics to Global Cinephilia. It's from 2007. It's very good and very easy to read. Sorry. De Welk talks about the network, and which she said that this network, in which film festivals assume key position, is alternative in the sense that it sustains different models for economic sustainability and thereby complements the dominant model of the Hollywood media conglomerates. So basically, she says that the film festival acts as a distribution system which is alternative to the Hollywood system. This is basically what she thinks, and it's I think she's right, and today it's even more so, and the alternative distribution system has become I would say also more institutionalized than almost 15 years ago. Then I have two quotes from Dina Jordanova, who's another scholar that studied film festival, not only film festivals, and she talks about festivals as this system of discrete exhibition sites, a system of discrete exhibition sites that strive to commit to a set of connections while at the same time seeking to abstain from that commitment. And also, she says that numerous circuits that function comparably and yet without much dialogue between them. So basically, she says that the festival have a name, but at the same time, they can try to hide it in a way, and that there is not much dialogue between them, even though I'm not very sure about this quote, I would say, this last quote, because, and now I hope you can see it. This is a chart that was drawn by Skadi Loist, but now she's a professor here in Germany. Actually, tomorrow she should be here in Dresden giving a presentation. And this summarized basically what film festivals are on a paper. Just to give you an idea, you can see that there are some centers around these circles. You see a dock, shorts, A and Q. Q stands for queer, A stands for A-list festivals. So basically you have to think about the A center as the point where the most important A-list festivals are. So as I said before, Cannes, Venice, Locarno, and so on, and Berlinale, of course. And those festivals are the center of that system, where around those center, you will see EFF, which means International Film Festivals. You will find other festivals that are mostly feature film festivals, let's say, that look at the A-list festival in the center to scout for films and bring those films to other audiences, mostly, let's say, in the same country. For instance, like here in Germany, let's say Munich. So Berlinale is the biggest A-list festival in Germany, and then Munich is an important national festival, but it's smaller than Berlinale. It's less industry-driven, at least internationally industry-driven, but brings films from other festivals, possibly from Cannes or others, and to be shown to a local audience in an area, and so on. So the larger circuits are festivals that are focus more and more on local audiences, and they look at films in the inner circuits. The same goes with docs. For instance, in the center you can find CPH docs, or you can find Doc Leipzig or IDFA in Amsterdam, and then again local festivals, the national festivals, local festivals around. Same with the queer, and same with the shorts, and then you can see lines connecting these circles, and these lines basically are the films. Then can start moving from one circuit to the other. So basically, what happens is that, let's say, a film opens in an A-list festival. So usually it's a world premiere. It's a short film, and that film might end up in the first festival circuit. So it will probably start into the inner circle of the film festivals, the short film festivals, and so be screened maybe in Winterthur in Switzerland, or Tampere in Finland, or Clermont-Ferrand in France, or here in Dresden, and so on, and then goes around the festival circuit, not probably into the international film festivals, but more in the short film section. If it's a documentary, it might also end up into the circuit of documentaries. Or if it has a queer theme, it can go into the like genre circuit. So, and then you can have, of course, like several of these circuit. And if you can see from the chart of what I like, it's pretty clear that it's different galaxies altogether. So this is like the festival universe on paper, and that's it. So now a little bit more about my work in Locarno, because it gives you a good idea of what is an A-list festival with an important focus on short and medium-length films. Locarno has a section that is very historical. It's called Pardi, Domani. It's an international and Swiss competition for short films and medium length, because it's the requirements. It's films up to 59 minutes. So it's shorts and mediums. And the requirements, the minimum requirements, is the international premiere of a film, even though the world premiere is preferable. This year we selected only world premieres, so I don't know how it's going to be in the future. But yeah, that's the minimum requirement. And it's for filmmakers that have never made a feature film before. And since this year, the new artistic director, John Nazzaro, launched a new section alongside Pardi Domani called Corti d'autore, which has the same requirements, basically 59 minutes, and it's international premiere or world premiere, but it's for filmmakers that have made at least a feature film, meaning that they can be kind of famous directors. Well, we have famous directors this year selected, but also directors that are kind of unknown to a big, large public, let's say, but they have made a feature film. And so this is the big difference between Pardi Domani and Corti d'autore. This is the way we work. In 2021, we received 3,000 short films, of which 400 were eligible for Corti d'autore. And of course, this is the official numbers. There are a lot of more films that we have seen out of the official submissions, and as you know, films that we scouted as a selection committee. The Locarno Film Festival has two committees. One is for the feature film, and one is for shorts and medium length. This is the committee of Pardi Domani. It's 4 members. Eddie Bertozzi, who is our supreme leader, and Anne Gaschutz, that you should know her, here in Dresden, myself, and Valeria Wagner, who is here with us today, actually. Hi, Valeria. We have basically 2 main tasks. One is scouting for films. So what we do is go into festivals and markets and try to meet with people and use our contacts and expertise to find new products, which means that, of course, like if coming here to Dresden, we can't select any film which is being screened here, apart from German films, if not then screened internationally. But it's good for us to meet with directors or follow their footsteps and their path, so that we can see what they're going to do next. And that's very important. I mean, like in my experience, working for Venice for 7 years, I would say that many filmmakers that then ended up in the festival it was filmmakers that I met personally, or I met their films. I saw their films in a festival, in a short film festival. So as a short film committee, it's very important for us to continue and be inside the short film network, basically. Then our main task for us is watching of the submissions, and yes, we do watch all the submissions. Maybe there is this myth that people, especially in big festivals, don't do it, but yes, we do. And in order to do so, each one of us has been assigned a territory or an area of the world, and so we basically look at films from I had South America, for instance. I had France. I had half of the United States with Anne, and I had Southeast Asia, and so I watched those films while the others watched other territories. This is how we did this year. We started working in December. We watched submissions and scouted films, and we were highlighting the ones that we liked, of the one we were seeing, to the other members. So then we start meeting online every month, and then since March, every 2 weeks. So we were watching films and at the same time telling the others, look at this film and look this for the next meeting. And when we were meeting, we were discussing the films that were highlighted by everybody. So at the beginning were like 20 films, and the end it would be like 50 that we were discussing per meeting. And at that point, we were deciding which were the ones that we were cut at that moment, or the ones that would progress on to the final meeting that we had in Locarno in June, where we met and we watched, I would say, I don't know, probably 50 titles, if I'm not wrong. And we picked 20 titles for the international competition, 10 for the Swiss competition, and 10 for the Corte d'autore. I have to say that this method worked very well, and it allows us to continuously watch films and discuss films. It was very helpful in terms of selection, and actually the discussion in Locarno at the end was very friendly, so we're still friends, I guess. So and it went well. It was good. And it's not here, but basically from when we finished let's say the selection until we start watching again submissions, there are, I don't know, 4-6 months, and during that time we still work. A little bit less, but we do. So like now in this case, we go still to festivals or to markets, and in case we start scouting. So very loosely we start watching films and meeting with people and keep, connections and networking or going on. So our contract is basically 1 year round. So we're always under contract. Regarding markets instead, this is the Clermont-Ferrand Marché du Film, cool. That's the biggest short film market in the short film world. As you can see from the pictures, on the top left, there is a common space equipped with booths and stands for the exhibitors. You have also meeting areas where trainings are scheduled each day, as you can see on top right. And then there are market screenings in dedicated cinema running for 4 days, and then we have video library, as you can see down right. This is some numbers to give you an idea of how big the market is. There are it's a confrontation between 2014 and 2020. 2014 because I made a presentation about this back in 2014 for some university thing, so I have the number for that year. That's why 2014. And 2020 because it's the last year when the market happened physically, because 2021 due to Corona they couldn't happen, so it was moved online. So as you can see, it's roughly the same. It was 5 days in 2014. It's 4 days now. It 1 day less because people started to leave the market very early on, especially when the two markets were the Clermont-Ferrand and Berlinale were overlapping for the last days, and even now probably it's 4 days, but it's truly free in terms of how much you work. It's the same place with 1,000 square meters gymnasium. There is much more exhibitors, but as you can see, there are less stands than 6 years before. So it means that there are less countries exhibiting, but there are more people for stands. And in terms of industry delegates, it's the same. Basically, it's like plus 83, but yeah, that's it. Again, another few numbers. As you can see, festival curators are basically the same, a little bit less, but yeah, distributors are identical, basically. Why the TV buyers are halved? And that says a lot, because like TVs, compared to 6-7 years ago, they buy way less films than before, and a lot of countries that used to buy short films, they don't buy anymore. So it's some sales moved from TVs to the VODs, but of course the VODs don't pay as much money as the TV used to pay, or some TVs still pay. France and Germany are, I would say, quite lucky in terms of having TV buyers that pay decent amount of monies for films, even though the films are not many films are sold. Yeah. This is a comparison of 2014 with Berlinale and Cannes markets, just to give you an idea between short films and feature films. As you can see, the days are a lot more for feature films, and the exhibitors are a lot more, and Berlinale is it's like almost 500, and Cannes is like the double back in 2014. And also numbers of stands, it's a lot more, and also industry delegates. The interesting number actually is like if you compare this chart with the chart of 2020, as you can see, like Berlinale grew a lot in terms of both industry delegates, exhibitors, stands, and buyers, so everything. As we said, Clermont basically was the same, and Cannes grew, but not as much as Berlinale. There is no number for exhibitors, at least for 2019. These are old numbers of 2020, apart from Cannes. But 2019, because of course Cannes 2020 didn't happen for Corona. And the market is happening here now, actually, in Cannes. And I can tell you, because I was there during the weekend, that was pretty empty. So, I mean, the numbers of EC are not indicative of what the Cannes market is, because still Corona is creating a lot of issues, I would say. I want to talk instead now about another market, which is a little bit different from Clermont, which is Torino Short Film Market, which I direct. TSFM is an international market primarily focused on the short film ecosystem. It was funded in 2016 at an ugly metal bar table during Cannes Film Festival, which was true. But we made a long way in 5 years, I would say, since that ugly metal bar. And then our aims is we want to promote the growth of the short film industry in Europe, but at the same time worldwide. We want to improve the impact of the short film and professional industry on the broader film business, and nurturing the development of new cinema authors and talents. It's developed by the Italian Short Film Center and Aiace Nazionale, and is a member of Torino Film Industry, which is the industry part of the Torino Film Festival. But it's not really connected to the festival. It's alongside the festival. It's different organizations, and also we collaborate in Torino Film Industry with Torino Film Lab and the industry days organized by the local film commission. And also TSFM is part of a short film conference. We are funded by several Italian, the ministry and then the region, and some foundations. But since 2019, we co-funded by Creative Euromedia, which is almost half of our budget. So for us, it's very important. And in 2021, we will celebrate our 6th edition, which we call volume number 6. So it's a recap 2020. Last year, it was our first fully digital event, due to COVID, of course. And we have 35 projects selected and pitched. And we had 700 industry professionals that attended from 64 countries. 130 decision makers, roughly 800 meetings occurred on our online platform, as the same amount of were the short films from 93 countries in our video library. We feature 4 panels and 1 workshop. Usually we feature more of those, but since it was online only, we decided to stick to the minimum, also because, I mean, like, of this online fatigue. So, and I think it went very well in that terms. I mean, not having too many events to do and in the same day, so people could enjoy also meeting with other people. And then also we had a 1 talent development workshop for Italian directors. Plus we made some online screenings for accredited guests, but very few. Then 2021 so far, we were gonna be an hybrid, hopefully, let's say, event in Torino and online. Actually, the online part will start on the 29th at the same, but the exchange between people will only be available from December the 6th to December the 10th, while from November 29th to December the 4th, the online, the people that will attend online we can book their meetings for the following week, and at the same time they can follow our pitches, our panels, and the workshops all online will be live streamed. And the real market, let's say, it will start from December the 1st, so it will be 4 days, while the first 2 days will be dedicated also, the first 2 days and the other 4 will be dedicated to a workshop where we organize. So we have 6 pitches. The most famous one is Oltrecorto, which is dedicated to projects of feature films based on a short film. In the last few years, we had a film that was that came out of a pitch session that opened at Berlinale in 2019. Monstri by Marius Olteanu, a Romanian film. And then last year in 2020, 200 meters by Amin Nayef, sorry, a Palestinian director, won a prize in Venice in the Venice Days section. And then there are other films that are almost ready to open in the next few months. Then we have Distributors Meet Buyers, which is a pitch for distributors wanting to meet buyers of short films, and so they pitch their catalog to these audience. Picture Fest is dedicated to festivals wanting to pitch what they do, again to an audience of festival people attending. Short comedies is like Oltrecorto, but it's for projects of short films that are comedies, of course. It's pretty dedicated to that. And again, we know that at least the film is going to open soon in some festivals, so we are very happy about that. We have XR Stories, which again, it's a pitch, the same for projects of XR content. It was called VR Stories. This year we expanded it to XR. And then from this year we have a new one, which is called We Only Pitch Twice, that we do in collaboration with other pitching sessions, Cancun Metrage, Baltic Pitching Forum, Balkan Film Market, and the Lago Film Festival in Italy, and Trieste Film Festival in Italy. So basically, we pick one project from each of these events, and we ask them to come to Torino and pitch again. So, and also, of course, it's a tribute to James Bond. Then we have a country focus, which is Sweden, and 2022 will be Germany. Actually, we are working a lot with Germany right now, because also Italy will be the country focus of Berlinale next year. So we are trying to connect the two things. We will have many panels and workshops. Will be probably 8+1 this year. We will have a curated video library, so it means that we don't have as much titles as other markets like Clermont-Ferrand, around, as I said, 800, but we curate them as they were festivals, so you will find programs inside that are highlighted, and that helps a lot the professionals. And also we have market screenings that are going to be in Torino and online. Plus we will have All You Need Is Short, which is our only public online screening that will be online, I guess, and offline. And usually we want to screen in Torino a bunch of films that never had the Italian premiere and to premiere there. And then we have like networking events and collateral events. And then finally, we have this brand new thing, which is TSFM Warframe, which is a talent development program for short filmmakers that it's starting now, like next week in Italy, and then will start in a region of Italy, and then it will be also this year in Sweden. Basically, it's a workshop for developing short films. So there will be several sessions around Europe and Italy. In 2022 will be fully, full throttle. And in these sections, people can apply. They can develop, let's say, a script, and then we will pick one project to come from each one of these stops, let's say, and they will come to Torino to have a second workshop on production. So in Torino will they then host up to 10 projects from Italy and Europe that will look for funding basically, and also pitch their projects. It's a brand new thing. For now, we have received very good feedbacks from our partners, and we have more partners coming up in 2022 already. I mean, this year is still a little bit a mess with the corona restrictions, so we hope, from finger crossed, that's gonna be better. Few pictures just to give you an idea of what it is. This is from, I think, 2018. So as you can see, it's like a very unusual space for a market. It's a very old palace in Italy, in Torino. We are not gonna be there actually this year. I don't know if you see it because it's very bright. But we will go into a similar space. Yeah, we have XR as well. Yeah, the same. People talking. And this was the online edition, so it was totally different environment. So like people Zoom. Emilia was here as well. You might recognize Lars Erik Gus from Oberhausen. This is me in my room, actually. That's my room. So yeah, I was home. I was not even in Torino. So, but it was nice actually. Then this is the end. Basically, I want to address this. What's working for as a film professional? The first thing is that networking is essential. So that means that you need to, meet people. It's because actually it's a matter of trust. That's an important thing. I remember a few years back, I was in Clermont-Ferrand, and I was talking to someone from the Swedish Film Institute, Theo Tapots. At the time, he was working with short films, and he was telling me that every day, or almost every day, he was receiving emails from Italian festivals telling them that they were international festivals and they wanted to see the films. It was of those years where like the distribution of films were a little bit still on DVDs, but we were on another way moving towards Vimeo. So and it was like do I have to trust them or not? Because of course, if you send a link to somebody that you don't trust, the link can be put on internet, and basically the film is spoiled forever, and that's a problem. So meeting people and trusting them, it's very important, and you can earn trust from people only if you see them face to face. In a way, it's very difficult to get to earn trust through email only. I mean, um, so for that reason, festivals and market are very important as well. Also, another thing that it's very common, it's repeating yourself. You always repeat yourself in terms of, hello, I am blah blah blah, and I do this and do that. I'm looking for this, and you keep saying that for days and days and days and days. But after a while, of course, once you gain the trust of people, you start to, even be friends with them after years or even less. It depends on the people you're. I mean, maybe you start talking about, your family and or your kids or I don't know, your hobbies, and then of course business. But it becomes more personal relationship in that sense. Um, this doesn't mean that you get selected only if you know people. That's important to say, because it's not like that. Actually, it's very much more difficult to tell somebody you know and you like that you didn't like their film. So yeah, that's where professionalism comes forward. Traveling is fundamental. Yes, it is. Hopefully, it will be again. Let's say that this year it helped a lot. The online Zoom stuff and the online market and festivals helped a lot, but it's different because you can't have those totally random um, meetings that you might find only if you are there in presence. Um, and that was, I think, I missed the most in the last 1 year and a half, basically. And also, it's a Game of Thrones, of course. No, it's a game because it's fun, but at the same time, you are in competition with others. So, 80s festivals are in competition with each other. We want to find the best short films, in our opinion, to promote them and present them in as world premieres and so on. I would say that in the short film circuit there is less competition in that sense, while in the feature films there is a lot of competition in terms of knives and backstabbing, um, like academia would say. But anyway, then it's salesmen and buyers, because even though you don't sell something, I mean, you might sell a film, but in terms of festivals, there is no money, or unless, I mean, if the films are in competition, there is no money paid, but you try to sell your film, and festivals try to buy your film or buy as I said, what they think it's the best films. Um, it's tough in a way because it requires a lot of energy and again a lot of traveling. So you need to like it to do it, but at the same time it's fun. So I mean, and in the last year and a half with the pandemic, I really um, came to to realize that I really like what I do and I feel lucky about doing it, and I was missing it. So happy to be on the road again. And this is it. Thank you so much for your attention. If you need to contact me, you can use these emails here. It's enrico.vannucci at locarnofestival.ch or vannucci at tsfm.centrodelcorto.it. And yeah, if you have any questions, please, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, we have to use the microphone for the questions because we are doing an online recording and otherwise it's not going to be on the stream. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and I will pass you the microphone. No questions from Facebook.
Do you like watch films which are not finished, which are work in progress, or do you prefer only to watch the finished films?
Mm, um, I do watch a lot of rough cuts. So yes, we watch a lot of films that are not finished. Again, I guess that the film must be in a way give the final feeling of a film if it's not finished. So my advice, my 2 cents, is like never show the film unless you think that the film that it's rough has the same impact that the final film. I mean, like we're used to watch films without sounds or like music, and so that's not important. But that's my advice. It happened that I saw some films that were not, very early on, but then it's always difficult to go back to them. I mean, we don't see a film twice, apart that if we are really impressed with the film. So the first impression is the most important one. So yeah, it's better to have a film that it looks like at least as the final film. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, how do you start? Because I guess the beginning to start a career in the industry as that might lead to become a programmer or anything like that. Like I was wondering, how do you start? Because the first steps, I guess, are the most complicated, probably also frustrating. And so, yeah, if you can give some advice also, what did you do?
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't speak about that actually yet, but it's a good question. It started as a hobby, I would say, and it became a job by chance, in a way. I guess also because I'm good at what I do. But yeah, but I also like the part of being lucky. It's been a big thing. So I studied cinema because I attended the National Film School in Italy, il Centro Sperimentale di Cinematografia. So I have a degree in script writing. At the same time, I got a master in history of film at the University of Bologna. But I mean, these 2 course of studies gave me a lot of information, a lot of important knowledges that I learned there. But I mean, it didn't push me towards these kind of jobs. So I was lucky because when I finished this in my hometown, there was this festival, and since the old people were like there managing that, I decided to step down. I didn't have much to do, so I said, okay, well, I can do it, and it started really as a hobby, not knowing anything about it. So I started to try it, and then step by step, it became, I started to travel to pay myself to go to festivals, and I started to go to Clermont-Ferrand, to Cannes, to Berlin, to Venice, and I started meeting people there. And after 4 years that I was doing that, I met in Clermont, Mauro Gervasini, who was one of the selection committee members of Venice, and we spoke there. We exchanged, I guess, a few emails during the year, but that's it. And then in December, they contacted me because they were looking for somebody to help them with the short films. And again, I know that somebody made my name as well, but I mean, I was lucky because I was there and I met with him, so he knew me, but I didn't do much in terms of, I wanted to get that job. Then, of course, once I got that job, my career started to become a real one in that sense. So, and now I feel like I'm a professional in this. But yeah, I mean, like, there are some festivals that do have calls out, not in Italy, I would say, but some festivals abroad, they do have like looking for a director or a programmer, so they might be, but it's mostly also a kind of, people that know other people and so on. But the good thing about at least short films is that everybody's friendly. So if you, and I think it's very easy to, talk to people, approach people and say, oh, look, I would like to do this, I would like to do that. Maybe It might not be the case of like the time of like we can pay you now, but maybe in the future it might be some places or something like that. So in that sense, there is a lot to invest. I mean, I think if I look at myself, what I did, it's like I also spent a lot of money like on myself on traveling and so on. So it was like paying for doing another master's somewhere, but instead of having a degree, I earned a job in the years. So I feel like that, I would say. I don't know if this answers your question, but
because when you were talking about the process regarding the Locarno selection, you said that like you received 3,000 short movies, but then you also have this parallel activity of scouting other short movies. But it's a world premiere, I was wondering also how this part of the scouting works, because I mean, one thing I can imagine, like for other festival, could be that you go to festival and you might see movies that you want to bring to your own, but in the case of a A-class festival, which you have to have world premiere, I wonder how this scouting works.
it depends. For a A-list festival, so it's mostly speaking to first the film institutes. So I mean, nowadays I know basically everyone, but so it's easy to send emails and stuff. But if you go to film markets, you can meet them there and you start talking and so on. So so they present what's gonna be next because they have an idea of what they are promoting. And that's one part of the job, which is very important. But not all the countries has that kind of structure. On the other hand, I would say that you also start meeting with directors or producers. And so you see their films. As I said, like here in Dresden, I mean, like I know half of the international program. I don't know the other half. So I'm pretty curious to see the other half of the program that I don't know, to find out if there is somebody that might be of interest. Then, of course, Anne works with me in Locarno, so I mean, like she will have direct contact with directors. So in that sense, it'd be very easy for us to get in contact with them. And if there is somebody that we like or I like, I just tell them directly, look, if you have something else coming up, just tell me. This happened a few years back, for instance, when I was in Venice, that I was in the jury in Lindy Lisboa, and I met with Céline Devaux, and we were in the jury together, and I knew she was working on a new film. And so I tell her, like, look, I mean, please, when you finish the film, send it to me. And she did it, and we liked the film, and in the end won. And she also thanked me on the stage, and it was very nice of her. But yeah, it was totally a chance, you know. So if we were never met there, probably she would never thought of sending the film to Venice, maybe because maybe we would have preferred Cannes before. I don't know. So so yeah, that's the way you do scouting as well. Like it's more this random meetings also that you have, or you know, festivals organize one-on-one meetings with, you know, festivals people and directors that are more institutionalized. So it can be either that or like a random meeting in a festival. And in the last 1.5 years with the pandemic, the one-on-one meetings were moved online, but you couldn't move all these totally random meetings that you might have in a festival. And that was what I think everybody missed the most. Because also but also it works with also collaboration with other festivals. You're there and you're just talking about doing something and you like it, and then you know, you have ideas. That's.
Hi. I would like to ask something related to the word frame that you just presented. Who is it exactly aimed for? Is it like what type of filmmakers?
Well, it's for all filmmakers actually. It doesn't have to be young or old. I mean, but it's a way of developing script from scratch. So the idea of Warframe is to have very rough ideas to be submitted, so not scripts at the script stage, because the workshop works in a way where not the tutors try to destroy the the idea of the participant, or the participant to defend their own ideas. But also the group, actually the peculiarity of Warframe is that the work is made not only between the singular person and the tutors, but among all the group. So everybody has to read what other people write, and they have to discuss what the other people have made. And through this exchange of ideas between the different people, then stories get better, because you put ideas into a circle, and they get transformed. So I think that it's important for participants is to come with an open-minded. I mean, if and also what we will try to select people that are open-minded to work on their ideas, with sharing them with the others. But of course, it's their own film, but open to feedbacks. I mean, like, not coming with something which is very structured and they're not willing to change. And the second part, instead, it's more like, say, market-driven. So it's like giving some hints about production, about funding, and also trying to put you in contact with filmmakers, in contact with co-producers that we might find in other countries, because we have a lot of international guests in the market in Torino. So it's a way to create these connections I was talking about. And also we hope that then the films are going to be produced on the following year. But we won't put any money on that because we don't have the funds. But I mean, I'm pretty sure that there are many funds, and through collaborations there can be, ways of funding the films.
So you have to have a producer attached.
No, not really. No, producer attached is not. It's not needed at the beginning. Not even funding. Then, of course, if you have it, it's better. I mean, it's a plus, especially for the second. If you're selected to the second workshop in Torino, because it's helpful in that sense. But it's not mandatory. No, it's more for filmmakers or producers or screenwriters. So, but since it's short films, and usually filmmakers do write and direct as well, and sometimes produce, they are the main target in that sense. Yes. Yeah. Other questions?
Yes.
That's okay.
I'm really sorry. I want to ask something in relation to the role of the distributor when it comes to short movies. Like, does it play a role when? Do you recommend to find a distributor for the short movie before start sending it to festival, or it might be? I mean, I guess it depends, but it might be better to start finding a premiere by your own, starting festival, getting some feedback, like response, let's say, and then finding a distributor just after having your premiere. Like,
I would say before, in a way, but on the other end, also depends on the distributor, because let's say the most famous distributors receive a lot of films because they're famous, and because they're famous in the sense of they had a lot of films in A-list festivals, so they became famous in the film festival circuit due to that. So a lot of people would like to work with them, but of course they don't take more than 20 films per year, probably, or even less. So so of course they have to make choices. So if then a film as a selection in a A-list festival, then they might be attracted by that. It's not mandatory in that sense, but yeah, that's how it works usually. And if I recommend working with a distributor, it's not mandatory. Again, it can be useful if you don't want to do the job yourself as a director or a producer. I think that there are a lot of pluses, which is like the distributor should know a lot about the festival circuit and what programmers like usually in that festival. So what's the line of programming, and they might know the people, so they might receive discounts or fee waivers. So in order to spend less. But on the other hand, you need to pay them because, of course, they are doing a job, and usually also they do it right. Or the other way is like that you put yourself into it, so you don't spend money, but you have to spend a lot of time to find out what the festival are, what they are looking for, because it's totally useless to send a film that it's not fit for that festival in terms of programming to a festival that will never program a film. Like, I mean, if you send a documentary to a film that won't screen documentaries, you just spend money. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that still do it because they all think, well, maybe it will be anyway, they will like it. No, I mean, it's not like that. I mean, there are regulations, and regulation must be respected. So, and so, I mean, like knowing how is the festival circuit structure, then it's important because yeah, it saves a lot of money and also saves a lot of time to the programmers to watching films. That's also something, because of course the programmers are paid for watching films, mostly. Well, it depends. But I mean, but still, it's not a very good pay, even in big festivals. Like, we don't earn a lot of money in that sense. Like, if we count the numbers of how many films we watch and how much money we get, it's like very bad. So we do that because we like it, of course. Well, it's a job, but also because we like it. But sometimes when you receive a lot of films that are not fit for the festival or like totally are not part of that, it becomes a little bit frustrating, I would say. Then of course it's a job, you do it, but and you're paid for that, so you do it. But yeah, I mean, and also for filmmakers, it's very important to save money. So studying that or using like working with a distributor that know that it will save a lot of money. So yeah.
Okay, one last question, then we have to move this to the lobby because there's another screening in the cinema.
Oh yeah.
After.
So
Anyone? Yes.
yeah, okay.
Do you feel like there's something positive to be gained out of this whole pandemic situations? Like, are there any barriers which have fallen or something like that? Are people more open to screenings online in general now? And yeah, maybe.
Not. No, I don't think about online screenings actually. Actually, I think that people are a little bit fed up with that. Even myself, I don't manage anymore to watch online festivals because, of course, we watch a lot of films for work. So spending extra time on other films online becomes a little bit, too much, and so. But on the other end, probably they were positive and for people that are not in part of industry. So in that sense, they might still be, you can reach an audience which is bigger than the usual audience that you have in the festival. But from an industry point of view, I can tell you that it's a lot. It was good and still good, and I think it will still be. With us, the fact that everything moved online, so even this talk now is online, so it's available for people that are not here, and they can follow if they want and can watch it whenever they want, and that's a plus. And also, like for instance, in Torino last year, we had people attending from Bangladesh, but they will never manage to come to Torino for several reasons. I mean, even in not in a pandemic time, but in a normal time, because it's too expensive, or the visa problem, or many others, and And for that reason, I think that even when the pandemic will be definitely over, we will keep going, at least in the market side, online and doing hybrid things, because in that sense you can broaden up the audience. And of course it's tough. I mean, it's sometimes, but it's to organize that, because it's double work. But on the other hand, it's good for the people attending, and also you can have more people following what you do and benefit from that, which is the most important thing when you organize industry events. So I think that is a positive thing, and the pandemic, basically, I mean, nothing was invented during the pandemic. All the tools were there, they were just not used. And what, Zoom was there, but nobody used Zoom. Now everybody's on Zoom, so, and everything is organized there. So this just really accelerated that process, and I think that will stay with us for a while. And so having both, hybrid events might be, still the new normal, also after the pandemic. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so thank you so much for your attention again.